Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining today. I'm Jo Morrison from Calvium. It's great to have people from different backgrounds gathering to think about coastal places and how we can create opportunities for greater engagement with them. As we know, coastal towns and villages sit at the crossroads of continual environmental change, shifting economies, and evolving social needs. And today we're here to explore how we can create or strengthen bonds between people and their coastline through the use of digital technology. And to do so, I'll be introducing the Connected Seascapes Community Toolkit for Digital Placemaking, which is a free, self-directed resource that uses digital placemaking to explore local challenges, to surface lived experience, and to support practical, place-specific ideas that encourage communities to develop a closer bond with their shoreline. And so this session is about collaboration, it's about creativity and practical action. And throughout, my colleague Marissa will post relevant links in the chat and will be available for any questions at the end through the text function. So as a coastal nation, the UK has a deep relationship with the sea. Our 11,000 miles of coastline shape our history, our culture, and our sense of place. They also offer powerful benefits, for example, health, well-being, and community connection. And yet, for many people living right next to the coast, of which 3.5 million people do, the shoreline doesn't feel like it's for them. And Connected Seascapes starts from that tension. It is a simple community toolkit for digital placemaking that addresses a key question. How might local people be supported to feel more welcome, connected, and involved in their coastline? And this toolkit helps us rethink the coast as a shared public space, one that belongs to everyone. And here's today's structure. We'll begin with the origins of the toolkit and what digital placemaking means. We'll then explore its content by taking a step-by-step walkthrough, and that includes mapping potential stakeholders, identifying local challenges and opportunities, and finally explaining how to co-create a project that communities could progress themselves. By the end of the session, you will have a clear sense of the toolkit, how you can apply it in your own setting, and when to factor in artificial intelligence, when to factor in AI. Now, before we get started, a bit about Calvium. We are a leading digital innovation agency that cares about creating digital placemaking experiences to foster deeper connections between people and places. And we are also members of the AI Experts platform that was launched last year by digital leaders. Now, for over 20 years, Calvium team members have developed innovative digital technologies that enrich people's experience of places, and that's from arts and cultural heritage to environmental citizen science. And we combine research, we combine creativity and technical expertise to make these engaging and meaningful experiences. And indeed, the slide here shows some of the organizations that we've worked with and are continuing to work with. So back to the toolkit. It is the result of an earlier collaboration between Plymouth City Council, the National Marine Park, the Rockpool Project, and the University of Plymouth. So together with residents who are local to Plymouth Sound, they designed new ways for communities to engage with the sea and coastline as a public space. And their project was called Digital Seascapes and was initiated and led by Professor Catherine Willis, with the support of Ashita Gupta, who is an early stage researcher, and she's now undertaking her PhD. The Connected Seascapes Toolkit builds on the insights from Digital Seascapes and is designed so that any coastal community can apply similar principles to digital seascapes locally. Now, you may say, why am I talking about this project? Good question. Because I was an industry mentor for digital seascapes and together with Catherine have created this toolkit. So fundamentally, we've created a very simple, practical resource. It consists of a single slide deck, and every slide includes a script. So whoever is facilitating the workshop has clear guidance to support them. Alongside that, there's also one accompanying PDF, which includes scripted slides and a short setup checklist for anybody to create the workshop that this toolkit supports. So together, these materials are designed to guide a focused, self-directed, interactive 1 hour workshop, because we know an hour is realistic for most people and not much more. And in the workshop, participants are invited to imagine new ways for communities to connect with and experience their coast. It's designed for groups of around 4 to 15 people, bringing together diverse perspectives from people such as those from local councils and residents, businesses, charities, community hubs and schools, and so forth. And there are 4 interactive group activities woven through the session, and we've deliberately kept everything clear and accessible. This toolkit is built for the real world. And we also explain key concepts such as digital placemaking and co-design. So even those new to these ideas can take part with confidence. Digital technologies can help us connect meaningfully with the environment and nature. And we call this connection between people, places, and technology digital placemaking. You see, we're telling you already. So technology is often seen, it's often positioned as distracting us from our environment, but it can also really deepen our engagement. So from weather apps and tide trackers to citizen science platforms and augmented reality experiences, digital tools can help and do help people connect meaningfully with the coast. And I'll show you some examples later on which feature in this toolkit. The key is using technology thoughtfully in ways that enhance rather than replace physical experiences. So now let's look at co-design. What is co-design? So that is it's a concept and practice that is central to this toolkit. And indeed, there's a range of definitions and interpretations of co-design. But for the purpose of connected seascapes, co-design can be explained as a collaborative process where different people, such as local residents, workers, and young people, work together to create solutions for their neighborhood. In this case, our seaside, ensuring that everyone's ideas and needs are heard. Now, we also provide context in the toolkit so that facilitators can share information about their coastal communities, our coastal communities. For instance, in the UK, you are never more than 80 miles from the sea. The mainland's 11,000 miles of coastline boasts a rich array of seaside towns, each offering unique experiences. In England and Wales, over 3.5 million people live in seaside towns. And these places tend to be more deprived than the non-coastal towns in all domains except crime. Health inequities are prevalent in many of our seaside towns, influenced by a combination of socioeconomic and environmental factors. Data shows lower life expectancy, higher rates of chronic diseases, loneliness, reduced access to primary and secondary care, and more. But seaside environments offer real physical and mental health benefits, supporting well-being, social connection, and active lifestyles. Yet many local residents rarely visit, often due to cultural habits or cost, or a feeling that the coast is for others. Unlike parks, coastlines aren't always seen or treated as shared public space. And that creates a real opportunity to help more people feel welcome, to feel connected and included. Now, in the workshop, facilitators are encouraged to bring in local stories and context, making each session relevant to its specific place and community. And the toolkit isn't fixed. It's designed to be flexible and adaptable to different settings and needs. And at this early point in the workshop, where we've started to think about people connected to the shoreline, participants would be given a couple of minutes to identify who spends time at their specific coastline. What do they do and when do they do it? And the toolkit also provides a section on place-based digital technologies. It explains, using this very slide, that today digital platforms and mobile apps play a big part in the ways that we experience our towns. They enable us to plan a trip, find our way, order food, pay for services, locate people nearby, participate in exercise, and much more. Of course, not every place has good connectivity, and not everyone has access to personal digital devices, nor chooses to use place-based digital tools. And then if we think of technology and nature, they're often seen as being at odds, causing us to disengage with the world around us. But that isn't the full picture. We often connect with our environment, with nature, using all sorts of digital technologies. And the toolkit provides some real-world examples. For instance, we can easily find out about the weather, high tides, beach crowding, air pollution, and more. Project Noah is an award-winning citizen science software platform designed to help people connect with the natural world and learn about the wildlife around them. If you search for coast, there are over 16,000 entries. Seek is an app that uses image recognition technology to identify plants and animals nearby. It works offline and so does not need internet connectivity. Digital tools like the Visit Medway app can be used to guide people around waterfronts, enhance accessibility, and showcase local heritage. Hello Lamppost allows people to have two-way chats with objects that form the Exmouth Tidal Defence System. QR codes have been attached to parts of the scheme, so anyone with a smartphone can scan the QR code or text the number on the sign to begin a conversation and learn about the Tidal Defence Scheme. Now, these projects show a few ways that digital tools are blended with the physical world to foster deeper local connections. So as we've seen, digital technologies can help us to connect meaningfully with the environment and nature. And returning to this slide that you saw earlier, a reminder that we call this practice of connection between people, places, and technology digital placemaking. At this point in the workshop, participants would have a couple of minutes to do a second group activity where they respond to the question, what digital tools do you or your friends use to connect with the natural world? At which point I will have a sip. And we're back. So in order to co-design a digital placemaking project that provides new ways for communities to engage with the sea as a public space, we need to get an idea of who might take part in the co-design process. And this is where stakeholder mapping comes in. Stakeholder mapping is a process of identifying and analysing some key people, groups, organisations that might have an interest in a place and might have skills needed to make a project happen. In our context, to explore new ways for communities to engage with our sea and coastline. You've got it, as a public space. So stakeholder mapping helps to understand who the stakeholders are or who they might be, their levels of influence, and how they might collaborate or interact to make things happen. And at which point, a third group activity invites participants to do an initial quick-fire gathering of possible people who they think could be interested in creating a digital placemaking project to enable, engagement in their coastal town. And remember that there is an accompanying PDF that provides all sorts of guidance and prompts for the nominated facilitator. Now, earlier on, I said that many residents of seaside towns across the UK do not visit their coastline. I also said that seaside environments offer significant physical and mental health benefits, from boosting social connection and a sense of belonging to encouraging exercise. For the purposes of the Connected Seascapes workshop, the same would be the case in their local context. And so with that in mind, the group would be invited to spend the next 15 minutes working together to focus on their own local coast and communities, with the aim of coming up with the first digital placemaking project idea that they could then progress after the workshop. Now, in the Connected Seascapes workshop, you'll notice that although we are focusing on digital placemaking, participants are not asked to think about artificial intelligence, about AI. That's deliberate. You might find that's unusual, as this is AI Public Sector Week, but that's precisely the point. AI deserves careful, thoughtful consideration. It should be introduced at the right moment, for the right reasons, and with appropriate diligence. The purpose of this workshop is to focus on people, place, and community need, to surface lived experience, to identify local challenges and co-design a strong place-based idea. If we introduce AI too early, it can unintentionally steer the conversation towards technology-led solutions rather than community-led ones. We want the starting point to be, what does our community need? What are the opportunities? Not what technology could we use to do something? The various technologies that come under the AI umbrella may or may not be relevant to the eventual project. That decision should only come once a clearer idea has been agreed. If later on the group decides that AI could play a role in some way, then it becomes an important part of the conversation. Before moving forward, the group should either develop an AI framework or adopt an existing one, a set of shared values and guardrails to ensure responsible, ethical, and transparent use. And that framework might address issues, and indeed should address issues, such as data governance, bias, inclusion, accountability, environmental impact, and human oversight. How could I forget a word such as impact? Word of the 21st century. Anyhow, in short, first design the right project, then, if appropriate, consider whether AI has a role, and only proceed with clear ethical guardrails in place. Some of my previous presentations have spoken about the use of different types of AI and their adoption in more lo-fi, small-scale contexts, and you might find those resources helpful. So, now we've reached the end of today's session and the final slide of the Connected Seascapes Toolkit. And at this point in the workshop, participants are invited to agree their next steps. And these might include agreeing a time for the next meeting, developing the ideas further, finding funding, contacting one or two potential stakeholders each, and informing the group of their response at the next meeting, setting up a WhatsApp group to share contact details, and so forth. So as we come to a close, I'd like to return to where we began, with the idea of the coast as shared public space. Our shorelines shape who we are. They hold stories, livelihoods, memories, and possibilities. And yet, For many people, they remain just out of reach, physically close, but socially or culturally distant. Connected Seascapes is an invitation to change that. It offers a simple, practical way to bring people together, to listen, to imagine, and to co-design new ways of connecting with the coast through thoughtful digital placemaking. It starts not with technology, not with AI, but with community, not with solutions, but with questions, and not with complexity, but with a structured, accessible process that anyone can lead. If we can help even a small number of communities see their coastline differently as something that belongs to them, that reflects them, and that welcomes them, then we begin to unlock the true potential of these places. The coast connects us all. The opportunity now is to use digital placemaking to design that connection with care, creativity, and purpose. And if you'd like to find out more about the Connected Seascapes Toolkit, then please feel free to contact me at Calvium, and I shall introduce you to Professor Catherine Willis of the University of Plymouth. And if you're keen to learn more about how digital placemaking can be incorporated into your own places, then contact me and I shall be happy to speak with you. Either way, contact me. Thank you and stay safe.